always wanted to do the Millennium Falcon. Coffee and Tools is inside the Millennium Falcon. It's down in the lower part where you smuggle stuff, I guess. I don't know. For you gang out there that have snipe problems, this machine here, the Ryobi that I have, same problem. Let's back the bench up just a bit. Okay, same problem. I was having snipe, and so we're going to take a look first at I took the guard off, and I'm going to have to take a look at the adjustments on the blade. Because first off, you've got to have a nice straight blade no matter what's going on. But snipe is all about, well, the reality is on this machine, because everything is a little different out there, this particular machine has a couple of interesting problems. And the snipe is all about the outfeed table. That's really what's going to create the problems. And if you're getting snipe, then you're going to have to do a couple things. Those blades are going to have to be adjusted and get your blades in the best possible straight position. Use a block of wood. One of the test systems I see out there that I check with other sites is a fellow takes a piece of wood and he puts it on here and he rolls the blade backwards like this. Now, if you're seeing this, this is a nice straight piece of lumber, and that blade is just barely brushing, which means when I'm holding this and running through and I'm planing, there's no snipe. There is no chance of snipe left once you get up on this table. Okay, so I took the guard off, and here's the roller that holds the two blades that are going to be cutting. The blade has to come past the aluminum housing, so it comes past just barely over the edge of the aluminum housing to line up with what we call the outfeed part of this table. And this is where the problem gets kind of weird, but this is going to be an interesting solution. So I've set this blade up. Now down here you can see there's two screw holes. These are Phillips screws down in there. So you're going to have to loosen all four of your bolts off and then adjust your blade. Now I usually bring a square piece of stock across here and line my blade up to that square piece, and that sort of sets the blade nice and straight across here to this table in reference. So that's great. I mean, you got to do that anyways, and use these two screws, of course, to sort of balance that out. But where we get into trouble is after we've locked everything down and we have this blade, the wood laying here is going to get a snipe. So we need to get this table dead level to where when something's laying across here, that blade is just, I mean, just barely brushing it. So let's take a look, and I'll show you. I made this earlier this year. I made this particular little pusher, and what happens too is with any kind of planer like this is you're putting pressure on here, so you're pushing down on this table. This table is lower than this outfeed table, so it's running into the blade, and the blade is, you know, cleaning it up and planing it. So as you get across all that, and you just saw that right there, I just actually touched the blade and hit it kind of thing. When you get across, I have to actually shift my weight up onto this outfeed table about halfway through, and then ease the rest of the lumber across like that. As I'm doing that, and I'll just back this up, as you can see, I can rotate this blade with my fingers. That's kind of crazy, but yeah, there it is. Also, like any good tool guy, you know, it's not plugged in, so no chance. Yeah. Well, I've seen some magic shows where science fiction. Never mind. Anyways, so what's happening is this outfeed table has got to be level to that blade to a point where when the wood reaches that, this wood's going to flatten out and there's nothing left to cut off except whatever this table was giving it. Let's talk about the outfeed table. That is really where usually you have an adjustment, and that is where this model kind of defeated me a little bit. The outfead table has no adjustment. Everything else, you know, I could set it up and I could get feeding in here, but I kept getting this wild, you know, almost looked like almost a big 1/8 of an inch almost of chunk, last 1.5 inches. And I guess I saw somebody on the internet said, well, you just overcut your length, do your planing, and then cut the bad off or something. I was like, that's really, that now, come on, you know, we can do better than that, right? Maybe. So what I did was I decided to shim this up. To shim this plate to get this to where it works perfect was a hassle. I mean, how do you put a shim in a plate that's that big? It's an outfeed table, you want it nice and flat, and you need to shim it. And you want to shim it in really small amounts. So I came up with a fabulous shim that crushes down under the plate, and it does the trick. Yeah, paper. layers of paper underneath this, which are under there right now even. You can almost see a little tiny bit of piece of paper right there sort of hanging out of my outfeed table. I added layers of paper until I got just the right amount of gauge right here to this blade, and then screwed the plate back down tight, and I'm done. That paper, man, that should last a long time. and that cured the snipe problem that this was producing. Now I can use this thing with confidence, and I just feel great about it, and I'm super happy. So quick tip this week, but yeah, that's how to get rid of snipe. And I hope you enjoyed the Millennium Falcon, because God knows I did. Thanks for watching.